Well, good evening and. Sorry about it, Mayor.
Make sure people can hear me. Now we can say good evening. And welcome to City Council. It is September 23rd. And we will now call this meeting to order. Can we have roll call, please, Myra?
Council Source,
Present.
Council Roden, here, Council Water,
Here.
Mayor Swartzler,
Present.
Council Martin Lewis,
Here.
Council Norton, here, Council Moore, here.
All right, thank you. And we have our meeting minutes from our regular meeting on the 8/26, 2025 that we're going to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Sorry. I had to get back into the council meeting tonight. I'll be the first and the second. We'll do roll call, please.
Council Moore,
Aye.
Council Morton,
Aye.
Council Martin Lewis,
Aye.
Council Water,
Aye.
Council Roden, aye, Council Source.
Aye.
All right, minutes pass. We do have some visitor public comments and taking these in order. For the record, please state your name and address. And you'll have three minutes for visitor comments. And first up is Ann Scheck.
Hi, everyone. As you may know,
Can you please state your name and address?
I'm sorry, my name's Ann Scheck, and I am the owner, publisher, writer, photographer most of the time for Trademark News. As you know, it's US Constitution Week. This is the last day for it. I thought I would just take a moment to remind you that, and for some reason this has never gotten in the public record, so I'm sorry if it is embarrassing in some way, but I need to remind you that 2 years ago, your city manager wrote me an apology for raising her voice to me and losing her temper and promised that she would, and I'll make sure you get a copy of this, Myra, made that the communications director would be answering questions from me. And so for about at least the past 18 months, probably longer, I have asked questions, I have dropped off queries, and I have made phone calls. And the city has never answered a single one, at least not the communications director. I just wanted to tell you what I think is happening here. I have to put it in a story, because I have to show that I stopped the other side. And it's not up to me to decide whether or not it's inappropriate not to live up to an agreement, but I've never used this in a story. This will change in December when I write an editorial about my end of the year as I go into my 10th year. I just think the public needs to know your side of things. And when I have questions, I have to seek answers. So I hope you understand. I did try to warn your city manager at one point, and I apologize for this. I followed her right into the bathroom one night and said, this will come back to haunt you because it will begin showing up in my articles, and people will begin to draw conclusions about the city. I think that's happened. And so I just want to seek your attention tonight that it is important that I include that in my articles, and also to show the other side is something that I always try to do. Just as an aside, in 2 years of this administration, I've never gotten a single demand for a correction. So I think my reporting has either been accurate or perhaps at times inaccurate without a correction being sought. But either way, it's looking pretty good.
That's
Thank
fine,
you.
Mayor.
Thank you. Next up, we have Vicky McCubbin.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors, and city staff.
My name is Vicki McCubbin and I live at 724 Cessna Street in Independence in Air Park. I've been working for the past many months for the organizing committee that brought the wall that heals to Independence. While not speaking for the committee, as a member of the committee, I want to express my appreciation for the tremendous outpouring of support, donations, volunteerism, and kindness that has been shown throughout this process by the whole community. When Billy Wisenett first approached me about the idea of bringing the wall to Independence, I did not foresee the profound healing effect it could have on this community. At times, I didn't even think I could get through the deep emotions I feel about the Vietnam era. But I'm glad I decided to participate in this great effort, reaching out to area schools with co-chair Joe Martinez, helping folks find names at the wall and listening to the veteran stories from several decades, not just Vietnam. It was my honor. Though we are living through divided times, the wall was a space where folks set aside differences and came together honoring and learning about America's past. The main reason I came here tonight is to thank city staff and the council for its unwavering support, whether pulling a shift at night or doing shifts during the day, or even being represented by your spouses. The council was truly there. Council Morton was co-chair of the escort committee and sent over 300 postcards to businesses along the route. Thank you, Mayor Kate, for delivering an address at the opening ceremony and for volunteering as well. I appreciated the sunbride you gave me, and as did many others, and your mom was amazing too. City staff members also served on the committee. Jason Bransky from Public Works did an incredible job with site layout, along with other Public Works folks who prepared the field. Emmanuel created such a great website that I've heard through the grapevine that it is now a model for other wall sites. Museum Director Amy Christensen was co-chair for volunteer recruitment. Jason Kistler was there with IT support, and so many members of city staff were volunteers, guiding people at the wall, including the police chief, city planner Freddie Vander, and city clerk Myra Russell. Some days I don't think Myra ever went home. I'm sure there were many more names I missed, and I apologize for that. Additionally, thank you, City Manager West, for your support throughout this effort. Thank you all for giving Vietnam veterans, including my husband, the welcome home they never received.
Thank you, and next up we have John Bruning.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Bruning. I've been a resident of Independence since 1994. Currently live at 654 Cessna, so we're neighbors. Does your husband have the Model A?
Yeah.
So back in the day, I served on the Independence City Council, the Historic Preservation Board, Central School Board, volunteered in the school district for 20 years. I'm the author of 26 books, 7 of which were bestsellers. I just wanted to say today that I've been watching from the sidelines for a long time as to what has happened in our community, and here I was very disappointed to see that the community didn't support the levy for the museum and the library, and I know that put the budget in a real bind. And I understand that because fact is the economic times that we're in has lent itself to cutbacks in every family, and that is obviously reverberated through our own civic budget for the city. And I also know that when the budget needs to be trimmed, which happened in 2001, I know things can be heated here too. But I wanted to say thank you to all of you, because you are Teddy Roosevelt's person in the arena. You're taking the slings and arrows and trying to do your best for our community. And I don't think you hear nearly that what you are doing is a service to all of us. And one of the things that's bothered me over the last couple of months is seeing the cacophony rising on the sidelines. With lots of innuendo and really scurrilous things being published. It's just really aggravating to somebody like me, myself, who has been at times a journalist. I was a photojournalist in Afghanistan during Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. So I just wanted to come in tonight and state that I appreciate all of you. I know what you're doing is really tough, and stay the course, because I think what I've seen from each one of you, talking with you, Bill, especially, I got a chance to talk to you one-on-one. I am just really impressed with the quality of the council here, no matter what sort of contention there may be. Everybody here is here for the right reason, and I just wanted to say I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our visitor public comments, and moving on to reports and presentations. And starting with my report, I have very happy things to report this time, which is always fun. So the wall that heals, similar to what Vicki McCubbin commented on, it was such an honor for us to have that here in our community, and I know it took years of a lot of dedicated volunteers, planning time, city staff time. And I don't think anyone could really quite comprehend the impact that it would have on our community until it was actually here. And I really meant it when I said during my opening remarks that this was a gift to our veterans, because especially seeing that firsthand down at the wall, volunteering at the wall, hopefully it did provide some amount of healing and understanding for the community. And again, it was just a real honor for us to have that. And I really appreciate how it brought the community together. I also want to say thank you to our downtown association, Hops and Heritage. It was also this past weekend. It was a busy weekend. Also just a tremendous volunteer effort, really highlighting not just beer in our community, which of course we appreciate and love, but the heritage part of it and our agricultural roots. And I think they did a really good job trying to highlight that as well. So thank you. And I know our museum was an integral part of that of that project. And then also special shout out to the humans who are here tonight. I understand there's another bench from our community, so we are deeply appreciative of that. And it just makes me appreciate again our community and our volunteers and what people are doing to contribute to the local movement. So with that, I will hand off to council liaison reports, starting first with the Traffic Safety Commission with Council Road.
Great, we had a traffic safety commission meeting, which is very good because we finally had a quorum, so that was good. Everybody was there, got along great. We discussed potentially putting the speed monitor signs back out in the again. We also discussed discretion that our police have been pulling over people and just being educated on what that means. And I appreciate that education being taught, you know, different ideas. I had questions on suspended licenses, and the police got back to me right away and solved that issue as well. So it was a really good meeting. Not too that we did have a public comment, so it was not too impressive, but we got good information about traffic safety.
Thank you, and Historic Preservation Commission from Councilor Morton.
Thank you. The Historic Preservation Commission meetings are really well attended by the members of that body. City Planner Fred Evander provides useful information accompanied by comprehensive maps and timely videos. His guided walks around the city to point out different architectural styles have been very enlightening. He does an excellent job of comparing and contrasting past building and construction standards with present neighborhood designs. This information will support future decisions that need to be made by this commission. The makeup of the commission itself is well balanced, bringing both career and home ownership perspectives that are valuable in discussion. And as just a sidebar, I wanted to add on about the wall that heals. And my husband went down and Kate Melman reported Councilor Roden was there in her uniform. And the minute I saw her, I knew this was serious.
All right, thank you. And our final liaison report for the night, planning commission from Councilman Martin Lewis.
Okay, and fortunately I can be relatively brief. Our planning commission has, for the last couple of months, been working on two items in particular. One is single room occupancies. There have been some recent changes in state law, so that a single room occupancy with up to 6 units is allowed on every lot that allows a single unit. And then single room occupancy, I'm not gonna read the whole actual definition of that, but essentially it's separate lockable spaces that share some common facilities, to be kitchen, bathroom, that kind of thing. So there's some things kind of missing in the state stuff, and Mr. Evander has been doing an amazing job of going through all that, explaining it to the commission. And they continue to work on that as he brings some answers back. The other is regarding mobile vending units. And they're looking at drawing a distinction between mobile vending pads and pods. A pad would be a single unit located somewhere in town. A pod would be something similar to perhaps parallel 45 where they have several units on the property. And so they're looking at that permitting process where the pod itself would be permitted, and then each individual unit would be separately permitted as a unit. So it does a couple of things. It starts to involve the property owner more in that whole process and management. And then the commission did receive some community input, sharing concerns about food trucks competing with brick and mortar businesses downtown. So there is some discussion about capping the number of trucks that would be allowed in the downtown overlay. Hopefully, Mr. Evander, I got that substantially correct.
That was beautiful.
Okay, and so those items are carrying over, and that is what your planning commission has been wrestling with.
All right, thank you. Now we'll turn it over to City Manager West.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm gonna change things a little bit with the city manager report. As we continue to work towards transparency, it's very, very high on our list. One of the things I realized is oftentimes counselors ask me questions, I respond, you all with the information, but the community never hears it. So I'm gonna bring those questions to the city manager report. I'll answer you, I'll answer them. And we'll just keep working on better and better transparency as we move forward. So I have a few questions, and hold on just a second. Thank you, while I conferred with my assistant city manager. So I have a few questions, and the first, I'm gonna read these generally verbatim. The first relates to a recent infrastructure failure that we had. And the question was, can you or Jason be more specific about what the IT infrastructure issue is? Does the city require new equipment? Is it a maintenance issue? Any suggestions on how counselors can help? Well, that issue was a failure of an external hard drive that we used. Sorry, yeah, I can bring it closer. This will be better. Okay, sorry. No, I'd rather everyone hear me. As you know, when I first came, our equipment failed in here, and so this is equipment that Jason pulled together, so it's working, that's a plus. So the issue was failure of external hard drive that we use for communications and website design. We've had to rely on external drives because our current servers don't have the capacity to support the large files that we use for those for communications and the website. And new servers are not within our budget at this time. And normally I'm not going to comment on which counselors asked the questions, but I do want to give a thank you to Counselor Ford for this question and asking how to help. Thank you, we appreciate that. And I know that you're talking with IT Director Kissler, and hopefully we get somewhere. We're moving a little bit to the cloud. We're doing a few things to try and alleviate this problem over time. The next question, what can we do about Stonehenge? As a reminder to the community and the council, and we've talked about this in the past, it's privately owned. We don't own it. We have very little control. We have limited authority to act directly, but what we've done is there's new owners and we've provided them with the information about available incentives. We've met with them to share details about zoning, development options, and economic development resources. So we are utilizing every tool in our toolbox to help the private owner to do what they can to get this started and moving forward as quickly as possible. Now I'm going to combine two questions because they have a similar answer. What are we going to do about the homeless people in front of the library, and what about the homeless individual or unhoused individual that I use at the Vector Civic Center? Kind of the same answer for both of them. One, we're in compliance with state law, which requires the cities to allow unhoused individuals on their property. Our ordinance, which was passed earlier, gives the city manager the authority to make that designation. Now, you may recall when that issue came up before, we had designated a park, and there was strong argument on council and community that unhoused individuals should not be in the park, they should be on city facilities. So we are following that, and they are on city facilities. Our police officers are incredible, and they are working with each of the individuals to try and find housing, to try and find services, to help them to live the best life that they can. But at this point in time, that is what we're doing, unless the council as a body decides to tell us differently.
Can I just add to that, City Manager West, because of budget cuts, there is limited community outreach to our homeless population, so that's gonna be an issue going forward.
That's very true. Thank you, Councilor Ford. What is going on with the tent inside the police department parking lot? So we have an individual who was taken into custody, and that tent belongs to that person. We are required to retain it. But because of sanitation concerns, it's been set up outside, undercover in a contained area, rather than bringing it into any of our facilities. There's a question about the dead trees between 4th and 5th Street on Monmouth. I have checked with our public works, there's no city-owned streets listed at that location. Based on that, it seems they're privately owned trees, and therefore they're the responsibility of the property owner. That's straight from Public Works Department. Finally, what are we saving to the general fund with the Civic Center being closed on Fridays? Well, as we discussed during budget, and I'll summarize for our community members. We really aren't gonna have those numbers until we've lived through this, right? We're running those numbers based on generalizations. Generally, you save 8% or 15% or 12% generally. So we won't know until at least 1 year, maybe 2 full cycles before we really know what we're saving. But what we do know is that generally, we're cutting utility costs, we're reducing wear and tear on our major systems like our heating, cooling, the elevator, and this is the important part. This really helps us avoid expensive repairs and replacements, because the less we use it, the longer time we can use it, right? So, you know, using general numbers, and I'm gonna say, using general numbers, right? One more time, using general numbers. We're easing the pressure a little bit on the budget. The equivalent of 40 to 65,000 each year. Now, these are general numbers, and it's important to note that it's not all cash in hand reductions. Much of the benefit comes from deferring our large capital expenses. like HVAC, elevator, flooring, paint, which reduces the chance of major hits in the general fund, which we absolutely can't afford in the near term. So we'll have good numbers after 1 or 2 budget cycles. These are generalized numbers based upon what is known at this time. That's what I have. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
I have a question. How long has the new owner owned Stonehenge?
Sean?
I think it's been, I think it was March or April where they closed on it, so it's been a few months. But yeah.
All right, thank you. Moving on to new business. Mr. Evander, looks like we go to you first.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
I'd like to add additional items to the new business. Items 7.6, 7.7, and 7.8, I'll discuss it a little bit to it.
Unfortunately, Mayor, if I may. On council, under council rules, anything added needs to be run by the mayor and the city manager before it's added. And that wasn't done on this. You can run it by and it can be added next time.
So that wasn't clarified last time when another counselor brought forward new business. So it
It's-
was negotiated before the business last time between you all knew this was gonna happen last time.
So there was no negotiation, there was a request that an item be added to the agenda. And that's it, in following council rules. It's in the council rules, council, would you like me to get you another copy? I'm happy to do that if it would help.
Well, you don't communicate with me anyway, so you told me you would get back with me on questions I asked on August 31st.
I just
And
answered them.
well, but you said you'd answer me.
I
Okay. I don't follow your lead, so you don't acknowledge me.
That's probably we're going to stay.
If you're not going
focused on
to
the
allow
agenda.
me to bring this forth, I think you're obviously not letting me do what other people were allowed to do in council.
So council Roden, the path moving forward, you can set up a meeting, I know that both city manager West and I have reached out to you in the past to set up meetings. That have not been successful, but we're happy to meet with you and we can discuss you adding agenda items during the next city council meeting.
And I can have Myra work on that, that is what Myra has done for me in the past, so you see email from Myra, like,
Yeah.
you know, that's.
Happy to set up a time. All right, so Mr. Evander, back to you for 7.1.
Perfect, thank you very much. Hi there, everybody. My name's Brett Evander. I'm the city planner here at the City of Independence. This item relates to setting a date for a public hearing for recently acquired property. South down Corvallis Road is 12.4 acres that will accommodate the surface water treatment plant. What this would do is set a date for a public hearing to annex that land. Also initiate a zone change for the property, cause currently it's in the county, it's county zoning. And essentially dispense with submitting the questions to the electors of the city and set a date for a public hearing on the matter. The resolution is before you, it's very similar to all of the other annexations we've been seeming to do lately. I don't know what's happening. I turned it off. Alright, so it's very similar to every other annexation we've been doing recently. Are there any questions that you have of me? Again, this would not annex the property, it would simply set a date to consider, to hold a public hearing to consider the annexation and zoning of the property.
Any further questions for Mr. Evander? If not, this is an action item.
I'm sorry, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, maybe I'm confused here, but the staff report talks about. A motion that would do things, if we're just setting a date, why does it have anything to do in here about must submit an application, must choose to dispense with submitting? And the options are that we approve a resolution. Am I looking at the wrong document?
Oh,
I'm not certain, I'm looking at page 9 specifically, the suggested motion.
I move to approve resolution.
Yeah, so the resolution is right after resolution number 25/1639.
That's another action.
That's the motion on page 9 would move to approve this resolution. The reason that we need to do that is our attorney has essentially said that we need to do that for zone changes. Specifically to make sure that we're meeting the intent of our code. And so that's why we bring the resolution to you folks, for you to approve. No, so the resolution is it's a resolution to start. Resolution to start the annexation and rezone of city owned land. So yeah, that motion is correct, the resolution, right?
Did that bring clarity, Counselor?
Not really, but. I'm just concerned, I mean, I can read the motion and I see where it says set a date for the public hearing, but it just seems kind of preemptive to approve a resolution that commits us to something. If we're not really committing ourselves to something, why are we talking about approving a resolution? Because we're going to talk about this at the public meeting, correct?
Yeah, so the suggested motion is it the suggested motion specifically that you've got a concern about? So it says it's a resolution to start the annexation and rezone of city owned land.
Have we done that before, done a resolution to start something?
Yeah, it's something that, again, we had done it a different way and we were doing it a different way. And our attorney a couple of times ago said essentially, really you should be doing some sort of resolution to start this, because how the zone change section reads is to initiate a zone change, you need either a request of a property owner or a resolution by either the city council or the planning commission.
I understand that, I would think it would be more appropriate to say something like initiate the process for.
Okay,
I mean,
you can change that motion to
Okay.
fit that.
I would agree with that also, because my question would be if we initiate the annexation, which is what, those are the key words there. After the public hearing, do we have to do something else if it does not pass, or if it does not, it's not agreeable to doing this? Would we have to have a resolution to undo the resolution?
So I mean, when I worked on this specifically, the intent that I had was that this is starting the process.
Yeah,
So
I
clarifying
reckon
that.
It's boilerplate language, but it's a little confusing.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and make the motion. I move to approve resolution 25-1639. An initiation to start the process to look at annexation and rezone of city owned land. Set a date for a public hearing on the matter for November 25th, 2025, and direct staff to provide proper notice to the hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Core and a second by Councilor Morton.
I think it's better be, I didn't get the whole word out, does that matter?
Okay, any further discussion? All right, we'll do roll call, Marva.
Council Source,
Aye.
Council Broden, Council Water,
Aye.
Council Margolis,
Aye.
Council Morton,
Aye.
Council Ford.
Aye.
All right, thank you. And next up, 7.2 to Mr. Irvin.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Excuse me. So, as indicated in my staff report, we're continuing to look for ways to diversify the local economy, continue growing our local economy. And in working with our partners from HUD, the consultants who are working with us on going through the finances, we realized that our economic opportunity for the analysis for the city is almost 20 years old. This is a kind of a foundational planning document where you look at, kind of forecasts of economic activity, population growth, sort of all the different things that factor into sort of big picture economics. Look at, kind of properties we have, zoning we have, and then kind of talk about, like, what are we trying to do? What types of industries do we want to recruit? Do we have the type of land availability and zoning that makes sense for what we're trying to do? It's a way to just kind of ensure we get coordinated with our goals and our planning, and everything that, as we look to try to grow our local economy. And so, it's a good idea to get this done. As I indicated, the HUD folks, will probably be including that as a recommendation. And then, coincidentally, the Department of Land Conservation and Development, their technical assistance grant program just opened up. And they actually prioritize creating economic development or economic opportunity analyses as their top priority for this program. This program, the technical assistance grant program, does not require a match, just requires staff time to work with the folks. And so we think it's a great opportunity to get this done, but we need a council resolution to authorize the application. So that's why I'm here. Happy to answer any questions.
And this application would be done with the assumption and almost guarantee that there will be no expense charged to the city.
Yes, and in many cases, we would, there's a decent chance we might just use a DLCD consultant, and so essentially, literally, the money doesn't even come to us. They just keep it. They develop, we work with them to develop the scope. They handle the costs, and it all stays within them. So there's no chance of cost overruns that we might not pay for.
Any further questions? All right, action item.
I move that the council adopt resolution 25-1638, authorizing an application for a grant from the Department of Land Conservation and Development.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Martin Lewis and a second by Councilor Source. Further discussion? Roll call.
Council Source,
Aye.
Council Rhodes, aye. Council Water,
Aye.
Council Martin Willis,
Aye.
Council Morton,
Aye.
Council Ford,
Aye.
All right, thank you, motion passes. Next up, 7.3, the Independence Monmouth Trolley IGA, City Manager West.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm bringing the trolley intergovernmental agreement back to you this evening as requested. As you recall, we talked about it previously. As a quick recap, this pilot project was initially funded with $3 million from the state legislature, and we recently received an additional $1.75 million for equipment and operations. From the beginning, well, before I arrived at the city of Monmouth served as the financial fiduciary and lead agency for this cooperative project. I want to acknowledge Monmouth City Manager, who is here, Rochelle Roden. She is deeply involved in this project, and she very graciously agreed to come in case you have questions, because I'm not as involved. I'm at a very summary level. She has been the one working behind the scenes, this moving forward. And she will be able to provide much more detailed answers to questions. You'll also see in the staff report that ridership, and I want to point this out, ridership on the trolley has been strong. It's interesting, I just had a meeting this morning where I heard from the school district that students are riding it to and from school. And I heard this really great story where one 5th grade student was showing the administrator how to use the trolley app and where to go to catch the trolley. I just thought that was just a huge thing. You gotta love our tech savvy kids today, right? But they're riding it before school, they're riding it after school. To keep this project moving forward, we'll need both the IGA and ordinance. This is a 2-step process. We're gonna review this potential IGA, which establishes a framework for how the project will move forward. Then we'll return to you with the ordinance and have a public hearing. So we want the framework in place that you're comfortable with, and then we'll have a public hearing on the ordinance and moving forward. As outlined in the staff report, the IGA establishes a commission and a committee that oversees the project. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know I gave you a lot in the staff report, and you also have the IGA. And just be aware that I may call Rochelle up if you go to them.
who from the city of Independence is gonna be on that board?
that'll be a decision for the council to make. And the city manager will serve on the operating.
If council's making a decision, are you saying it's gonna be a counselor?
It can be a counselor, it can be a community member.
Okay.
Yes, three, yeah, Michelle's telling me three. Would you like to come up? Do we have yeah, there is. Back to Michelle? No, you're good to go. So this is Rochelle Roden, she's an incredible city manager, I've worked with her for nearly a decade, and this is kind of her baby, so.
Okay, so basically, each council from Monmouth and Independence will appoint 3 members to the board, can be council members or someone from the community that you want to appoint.
So it says you're gonna have, a advisory committee,
Correct.
and it says part E on that is a non-voting youth member. What does that mean, non-voting youth member? They can participate, but they have no say.
Correct, so it'd be someone from the youth that rides the trolley, hopefully, they can provide input from that level, but they would not but they would not be able to vote,
Why couldn't they vote?
Don't pay taxes.
so.
Would they be able to vote if they turned 18?
I think that would. The
So if you
This
don't
whole
pay
body is
property
not-
taxes, that you can't vote?
I'm sorry, Pastor?
If you don't pay property taxes, does that mean you can't vote?
No, I believe that was a semi-joke from our other counselors of light, that I believe that this was, the IGA was created similar to what Chariots has in place, if I recall.
I was just gonna say that, so I based this off of the stiff advisory committee that works with Chariots. And that's what we picked, all the different to the different demographics, so that we could have good input in this advisory.
I would just suggest that if we're gonna have a youth member, regardless of their age, they should have the power to vote as well. Their input is valuable. In my.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm agnostic whether they can vote or not. I'd just like to say we have non-voting members in government bodies all the time. They still get to express their opinion and fully participate with the exception of the vote. So if it's really important to this council to change that, I'm okay with that. But I just want to make sure people know that even if they don't have the vote, they still need to express their opinion, be active.
One of the concern is them potentially committing the cities to expenditures that maybe they don't fully.
I think that might be part of the reason why it was not voting, just based on the fact that this committee will approve the budget and will then, provide information for the operations commission to complete. And so if you have someone who's 12, are they able to reasonably understand the decisions that they're voting on? And maybe that's it. For that.
Any further questions for city manager Roden? Or city manager Wells? The city managers. Either one, yes, don't be please.
When are we hoping to have this up? And see that back?
So.
As quickly as possible.
Yes. So I took it to my council for a work session, and then we brought it before you, and then I have to talk to the president of Western Oregon University, because they also have a board member on that. And then we have to do the ordinance, which that takes a little bit of time, so the sooner the better, because this body will start working on figuring out how we're going to fund the trolley after we are done with our grant funding, and we still have STIP funding, so we were able to get that this year, so we have about $750,000 in STIP funding through Chariots. That's for the biennium, and then hopefully we will retain that funding going forward and maybe hopefully increase that and get more of that money to go towards operations. And then subsidize the rest of it with whatever this advisory committee can do in regards to raise.
Maybe like January.
That seems about right, I think, once you get through all of that in the ordinance. Right, usually ordinance are 30 days from the second reading, so, yeah. That would be great.
I also want to tie in for the students representative for the university, for the so you're right.
Okay, oh, good, yeah, oh, good point.
Council, they're gone the entire month of December.
Theoretically, depending on who the person is and all that, that might be something that we talk to the president of the student body and the university about too, is it really important that someone represents the university in this conversation isn't? That could be one for me, and then we can, right? But yeah, they're gone, there's a 3.5 week break Sunday. So.
Thank you, Counselor.
Yes.
Couple of things to consider also. Whether the student on the board is a voter or not, I do believe we should make an open invitation to students to be at the public hearing. I think their input is very important. And also, if we're involving the Monmouth City Council, the Independent City Council, and Western Oregon University contingent, why don't we consider having a joint meeting?
Joint meetings are challenging. Getting everybody to find a date, getting, there's only one location that we can use.
We have a precedent.
We do, but it's incredibly challenging. And so we've chosen this because this is probably going to be faster than trying to find a date where we can get everybody into the same room. But I love the
I
idea.
disagree, but because I think they're an excellent tool to use, but this is a democratic process.
Further questions regarding this? No, we believe this is an action item.
I move that the council authorize Mayor Schwartzler and the city manager West to execute the Monmouth Independence Trolley intergovernmental agreement.
Second.
So we have a motion by Council Morton, a second by Councilor Source. Any further discussion? No, roll call.
Counselor Ford. Aye. Counselor Morton.
Aye.
Counselor Mark Willis.
Aye.
Counselor Boisvert.
Aye.
Counselor Roden. Aye. Counselor Source.
Aye.
All right, thank you, motion passes. Moving on to 7.4 of Memorial Plaque, and City Manager West.
Thank you, Mayor Kate. May I go off script for just one moment? Yes. City Manager Roden, I know you've been working since 7:30 this morning. And you will please. This memorial plaque is for the. Sorry, I'm getting my notes together. And I'm looking at the wrong staff report. It's been a day. Okay, this memorial plaque is to be put in place in honor of Jamie Bowe. The State Russell School Program project at Gun Club and Hoffman Road was recently completed with funding from ODOT, Polk County, and the City of Independence. Both are SDCs on that. And it included the key safety improvements, crosswalks, the sidewalk, bike lanes, pedestrian flashing beacons, right turn pockets, and then a water quality swale. Now, many of these types of projects come because our community members stand up and ask for them. They stand up and they say, this isn't safe. This isn't safe for anyone. One of those community members was Jamie Bowe. And he asked and he nudged and pushed and requested. And he passed away before this was completed. This memorial plaque would be placed at a location that works for Public Works, because this is an active area. Public Works is behind the idea of the memorial plaque. And we're here to ask you to approve us going ahead and doing that. And if I may, Councilor Coral was heavily involved in this. I don't know, Councilor, before you would like to add to this.
I've been tracking this issue for Jamie for the better part of 6 years. And it was only with the arrival of Mr. Fisher that things actually got moving. Jamie was an avid bike rider. Unfortunately, he took his life a couple of years ago, but I've been in contact with his ex-wife, who is still very involved with Jamie's life. And we talked about this and said, you know, it's a shame he's not here to see it. It's a shame he's not here to ride down Hoffman Road and feel safe. But we both agreed that maybe there's some way that we can remember him And hopefully others in the community will see the memorial and think, maybe if I just get involved, maybe if I just ask a question, maybe if I go to a meeting, something can actually happen. So I think, you know, it's mostly Mr. Fisher's effort here, and I appreciate everything he's done. I just think it's a nice thing to do to both engage with the community and help have the community have a visible reminder that they do matter and they can get things done in this community.
Anything else?
Further questions or comments?
Just one. Where is the funding for this coming from?
Public Works actually does have some funding for this type of happening,
So not from the general fund.
not from the general fund.
Is there an opportunity to donate to this?
There is always an opportunity to donate to whatever anyone would like to donate to.
Further questions? Go action item.
I move that the council authorize city staff to locate and place a memorial plaque in honor of Jamie Bowe within the gun club and Hoffman Road project area.
Second.
We have a motion by Counselor Corn, seconded by Martin Willis. Any further discussion? I would like to just add that as a neighbor of Jamie's, he and I also talked about this, so it does feel good to be recognizing that his concerns are being addressed. So it feels very fitting. With that, we can do roll call.
Councilor Schwartz,
I,
Councilor Burton, Councilor Waller,
Aye.
Councilor Mark Willis,
Aye.
Councilor Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Ford.
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. And under new business final item, 7.5, public meeting grievance process. And to the manager list.
Thank you. I get to speak with you a lot tonight. You know, usually I let my department heads handle that. They're much better at it than I am. So tonight, our final item is a public meeting grievance process. Now, the state legislature gave us another unfunded mandate, and we just love them. It's our favorite thing ever, said no city manager ever. This process allows individuals to file public meeting grievances against public agencies. The statute states that the public body, that's the important word, public body, must respond in one of several specific ways within 21 days of receiving a grievance. Now, these grievances are all based on fact and law. There's no policy, just fact and law. And bringing these to the council every single time puts us at risk of missing that 21-day response. They're quite complex. This sounds really straightforward, but it is incredibly complex. We have to investigate the matter. We have to confer with city's contract attorneys as needed. We have to gather and review the factual information and documents, and then we have to prepare a legally sufficient written response. Now, we have responded to, we have a grievance, and at this point, I think we're a good 15 hours plus attorney fees into it. And so they are complex, right? Again, very fact driven, and we are hoping when this came down, we planned to bring this to you to delegate the responsibility to the city manager or designee. And we just had other priority issues. Well, this has now become a priority issue. So we're bringing it forward now, timing works well, to delegate the authority to respond on behalf of the public body on these grievances. What you see on your desk is a blue sheet. We adjusted the motion. So if you would like to make a motion, that's the recommended motion. What we changed is to allow or designate and noted the public body.
What other options does the state legislature give us other than having one single person do this as a city manager, or does we do the person?
Well, they would be lead councilor voted, so it would be like on the grievance we're on right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us, Myra. Are there 5 of us? 4 of us? 4. There are 4 of us working on it with one lead. So what would happen is, depending on what it was, either Myra or I, because I'm the liaison to the council, and Myra is my assistant when it comes to things like this. So either she or I would take lead, And then whoever, whatever staff would just be needed, would come together, we would have a meeting, would go on the contract attorney, and then that lead would then send a document.
How many grievances have we had?
Well, since this process, 2.
And if you were a part of the grievance, would you remove yourself and then Myra would take over, or can you be a part of can you be a complaint?
This wouldn't cover me, this is a public meeting issue, it has nothing to do with the city manager or staff. It is simply a public meeting.
Of the 2 grievances that we have had, are they from different individuals, same individual?
Same person.
Okay, and just to clarify, because was a member of another public body that did have a public meeting grievance filed. And so just so everyone is keenly aware, it's important that these are handled expeditiously, because each one of us as an individual is subject to the consequences of these not being resolved. They go to the Ethics Commission, and it's either a slap on the wrist, letter of education, potential $1,000 fine for each of us if these things are not resolved.
So we take these very, very seriously, and that's why we do not want to miss that date. And again, it's not a policy decision, it is facts and law.
I'm ready for. Do you have any more questions, Councilman?
I have one other, I guess, question or clip. So we've recently switched over software, right, to, and is that part of the confusion? Are people looking in the wrong space for this, or? So I know that we have been incredibly careful about noticing our public meetings, but I know that there has been a swap going right now.
Yeah, we just completed the shift to a new program, which actually we've gotten a lot of compliments on. People really like the new program a lot better. And we've only had one person who's agreed, who's completely back also.
And you do have records of the fact that we've taken public meeting law training.
We do, and that is noted, it's noted that we're aware that the training needs to be done in the draft response.
First question?
I move to the council authorize the city manager or designee to respond to the public meeting grievances on behalf of the city's post.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Source and a second by Councilor Martin Lewis. Further discussion? None, we'll do roll call. Wait, you have a question?
It's still possible to change perhaps her to their.
We can,
I'm happy that.
we'll call that Scrivener's error.
Thank you.
Right, okay. Councilor Court?
Aye.
Councilor Martin?
I,
Councilor Martin Miller?
Aye.
Councilor Wazer?
Aye.
Councilor Rowland? Aye. Councilor Source?
Aye.
All right, thank you, motion passes, and any council announcements? Start at this end.
Yes, it's more of a statement than an announcement, if that's our thing there.
Absolutely.
So today is the first day of Rosh Hashanah for Jewish folks out there, myself included. It's the Jewish New Year, and it starts the 10 days of reflection and repentance before the door is sealed on all of our faith for the next year. So our faith asks us to reflect, and I've been reflecting on the horrible violence that's happened over the last year in this country. And I just wanted to say publicly that although I didn't agree with lots of what Mr. said, it's tragic what happened to him. And I just am so sad for his family and everyone who saw him as someone who represented their thoughts. And I just I also want to just say that, you know, I pray for Melissa Orman and her husband's family, that horrible violence happened in Minnesota, and everyone who's been impacted by political violence. So I ask our community, our council, my colleagues, let's take this year to try to really work hard to see humanity in each other and to really center ourselves on what we serve and always use violence as the last option. not an option for us. I just don't have that huge word. We really communicate with each other and assume best intentions, and I ask that of my community members too. That we never accept violence as a worthwhile. So thank you for indulging me on that, and just really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, Councilor Smith. Councilor Rowe?
Just wanna thank you for stating that, I think it's very impactful and meaningful that you do so. Cause we have it here in our community too, and it's disheartening, so it's something we should never do. And we should have the mayor and every person of this council, our city manager, our chief of police, everybody stand up and say no to violence and agree to debate and argue and not be violent with each other. When I ran for election, I know you guys said we don't talk about elections, but when I ran for election, someone literally put a knife through my face. And not one person on this council came to my defense. Not one person spoke that we don't do that. So I appreciate you coming forth and saying we need to put a stop to this violence. I would never personally attack any of you. I enjoy, we can debate on our arguments, but there is no place for violence in this community. And there was an opinion piece that came out today that said the question before us is not whether we will have more Charlie Kirks, young people willing to brave hostility for their beliefs, but whether the cost from engaging in public engagement has become too high. And that would be a terrible thing for people in our community to not want to engage and run for office because they're in fear. So I appreciate us all standing together and honoring Charlie Kirk and agreeing to be civil owners. Wait, one more thing. You said I couldn't bring forth any motions because I didn't bring them to you and the mayor before 3 p.m. Why wasn't my censure put on the agenda if it was brought before to you before 3 p.m.? The agenda had already been published. Why don't you amend it?
Well, we don't amend it after a certain point, Counselor. And you can, I am kind of hoping that maybe you stay out for a few minutes, Mayor Kate, and I can talk to you about what you want on the agenda, so it can just be easy and done tonight.
Any further announcements?
Okay, super quick. I know I have for probably months now, was pushing for volunteers for the Wall That Heals. And I just want to say how proud I am of this community. You turned out, you signed up, you showed up. Thank you. And on a personal note, when I went down and I saw the over 85,000 names engraved on that wall. 58,000, sorry, dyslexia moment. I was struck by just sheer gratitude that my father came home from all 3 of his tours. And to all the names on the wall, just thank you for bringing them safely.
Thank you to Earl for.
Yes. It was nice that folks just kind of wrapped their arms around him and welcomed him, and he's got that taste of community service.
I think we're all going to have stories about the wall for months and years to come. I was impressed, I was at the Hop Festival on Saturday, which was very successful and very well attended and very comfortable and peaceful and harmonious, for which I am grateful. But I want to call out one particular person. His name is Joe Frasconi. His wife is on the Independence Downtown Association board. Joe is 81 years old and he stood out at the corner of Main and C Street for 5 hours without a break, holding up a yard sign that said "The Wall That Heals" in order to direct people to where it was, because there was a great deal of confusion. I hear part of the confusion even went as far as GPS. But we had bumper to bumper traffic on Main Street, and about every 3rd person rolled down the window and asked Joe which way to go to get to the wall. And he talked to every single one of them with a smile.
Right, any further announcements? No, we'll
Move to adjourn.
move to adjourn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.